Hello, everyone. You are getting sick day, teacher, but that's okay. So, talking about Act Five, our last act, Act Five, Scene One. So, actually, I don't have a whole lot to say about Act Five, Scene One. It's pretty much just plot and action. So, I'll kind of summarize that and maybe hit one or two things. So, here we already know from Act Four that Iago is trying to get Rodrigo to kill Cassio for him. So that's what we get in Act Five. So Iago and Rodrigo are kind of staking out, waiting for Cassio to come out from where he's having dinner with Bianca. And so they're waiting on him, and Iago like has Rodrigo stand away and it's like he'll come out in a minute and you attack him. And this is under the cover of darkness, it's nighttime. So, Iago's like, I'll be here in case it doesn't work. I'll stand back. So, Rodrigo even admits that he has no great devotion to the deed. And he's like, I don't really want to do this, but Iago has convinced me. So, he does. So, what is interesting is when that happens, Iago and Rodrigo kind of split apart a little bit, and Iago talks about, has this little aside where he talks about what's happening. And Iago says that he doesn't that he can't let either of these people live. He can't let Rodrigo live or Cassio live. He says, live Rodrigo. So if Rodrigo lives, he calls me to a restitution large of gold and jewels that I bobbed from him. So all this money that Rodrigo has been giving Iago to give to Desdemona, obviously Iago's been keeping. So he's like, Rodrigo has to die. Otherwise he can like come at me about this money. And so his plan for how, somehow is to kill Rodrigo. Then he says, if Cassio do remain, if Cassio stays alive, he hath a daily beauty in his life that makes me ugly. I love this line. I think it's so interesting, and we're getting something interesting about Iago here. He's just like, I have to kill Cassio because Cassio hath a daily beauty in his life that makes me ugly. Like Cassio being a good person or a charming person or whatever it is, something about who Cassio is as a person makes him feel ugly, makes him feel insecure. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. He's like, Cassio makes me insecure about myself. So he has to die. And then he says he also could tell Othello about everything. So he has to die. So Iago wants both of them to die with whatever falls out here. So then Cassio comes in. Rodrigo goes and tries to attack Cassio, but doesn't do a very good job. So apparently, like his coat kind of deflects it or whatever. And then, so Cassio then stabs Rodrigo, and Rodrigo is very hurt by this. Like, as we have seen before, Cassio is apparently pretty good. So Cassio gets Rodrigo quite bad. So then Iago comes in seeing this and stabs Cassio in the leg. So kind of comes up behind Cassio and stabs him in the leg. Cassio does not see who did it, and Iago just runs away again. And then Cassio's quite badly hurt as well. So with all of this shouts, we have Othello come in and we could stage him different places. He's not like right there. He might be like, say, coming up to a window or something. And he hears these and he's like, I hear Cassio crying out. So that means that Iago's doing what I told him to do. And so he's like, all right, he's doing his part. I'm going to go do my part. So he wants to go then kill Desdemona. So we have Ludvico and Gratiano who are in from Venice and they hear everything. And so they go in and check. And so Iago comes in after stabbing Cassio. He comes in pretending like he had no clue what was happening and is trying to help. So he's like, everyone come help, come help. Cassio's hurt. And Iago goes to Cassio and is like, oh, let me help you. I can't believe. And Cassio says, I stabbed someone who attacked me. So he's probably laying here around somewhere. So Iago goes to find the person who hurt Cassio and then goes to Rodrigo, who is technically the person who killed Cassio or tried to kill Cassio. And he's like, oh, I found one of them. And then he stabs Rodrigo. And so Rodrigo gets to kind of finally see Iago who he is in this moment and calls him an inhuman dog. But Iago is pretending this whole time that it's this random person who's hurt Cassio. He's like, "Where are these thieves? Who has done this?" Blah blah blah, and stabbing Rodrigo, and then gets to come back to Cassio and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Whatever." So at the end of this fight, Rodrigo is killed by Iago. And Cassio has no clue besides Rodrigo. He sees that after this, he knows Rodrigo was somehow there, which they didn't know he was there, and that he has stabbed him. But he has no clue that Iago had any part of this. Iago needs to try to devise some explanation for what happened. Well, he doesn't. He can pretend he doesn't know anything. But he does kind of offer a little bit of an explanation because Bianca comes out and she's so upset that Cassio is wounded. And Iago tries to pass this off as like, this might have something to do with Bianca. Bianca is untrustworthy because she's a prostitute. And so, like, maybe she put out a hit on Cassio because Cassio, he doesn't say this exactly, but he's implying that something happened that like Bianca is probably involved in this in some way. And he kind of just relies on people to believe that, to start looking at her and suspecting her because, again, as always, Iago is so trustworthy to everyone, and a woman never is going to be trustworthy in this time, and especially a prostitute. So, so that's pretty much the end of scene one. And so now Cassio's still alive, Rodrigo is dead, and Emilia has gone off, not Emilia, Othello has gone off to kill Desdemona.